What if the wealthiest king in the Bible left behind a blueprint for financial success? A blueprint that has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with a few specific rules. So many of us feel trapped by debt or anxious about money, all while secretly wondering if it's even okay for a person of faith to want to be wealthy. Well, in the next few minutes, we're breaking down King Solomon's 7 timeless principles that fuse faith with practical money tactics you can start using today. This isn't about chasing stacks of cash. It's about reclaiming your financial life God's way. You see, the story of Solomon's incredible wealth doesn't start with a lucky investment. It starts with a prayer. When God appeared to him in a dream and said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." A young Solomon didn't ask for riches or a long life. He asked for an understanding heart to lead God's people well. God was so pleased with this that he gave Solomon exactly what he asked for, wisdom, and then threw in the wealth, honor, and influence he didn't ask for. And that's the secret right there. Most money problems aren't actually money problems. They're wisdom problems. They're the result of poor planning, impulsive spending, and a lack of discipline. So today, we're not just talking about money tactics. We're talking about a whole new way of thinking. These are the 7 faith and money rules that flow from that God-given wisdom. The first rule is simple. Stop just asking God for a bailout and start asking him for a roadmap. When Solomon prayed, he asked for a discerning heart to govern. That's a request for strategy. How often are our prayers just panicked reactions? Lord, please just help me pay this bill. God, I just need this rent money. Instead of only praying for the rent money, pray for the wisdom to build a budget and the discipline to actually stick to it. Instead of just asking for a rescue from a car payment, ask God for a creative side income idea that you can start small and grow. Pray for the wisdom to spot the expenses that are quietly draining your bank account. This is the difference between asking for a fish and asking God to teach you how to fish. So, here's how you apply it. Get intentional. Write down a simple budget. Income, essentials, wants, giving, saving, and debt. That's it. Start learning basic financial literacy. Understand how interest works and how to track your spending. Pray for a mentor, a wise Christian friend who has managed their finances well and can help you create a real plan. This first rule shifts you from a place of desperation to a place of disciplined strategy. Rule number 2 comes from Proverbs 24:27. Put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. After that, build your house. In today's terms, focus on building your financial security before you upgrade your lifestyle. Solomon did this himself. He spent years building the temple and the kingdom's essential infrastructure before he even started on his own lavish palace. Before you start shopping for a new car or a bigger house, ask yourself, are my fields ready? Have you built an emergency fund of at least $1,000 on your way to 3 to 6 months of living expenses? Do you have a clear plan to demolish your high-interest debt, like credit cards? Are you consistently investing in your future? These are your productive assets. A great way to do this is with sinking funds. If you want a new car in 2 years, figure out the monthly savings and put it aside. That way, you pay with cash you've prepared, not with debt you'll regret. Delaying gratification isn't punishment. It's building a foundation so strong that your lifestyle, your house, can stand on it securely. Rule number 3 comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, where Solomon writes, invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. This is ancient wisdom for a very modern problem, relying on a single fragile paycheck. Solomon's kingdom thrived because he had income from trade, agriculture, and international commerce. He knew that a disaster, a recession, a famine, a layoff, could strike at any time. So how do you actually do this? Start by identifying one skill or interest you have. Can you write, bake, design, fix things, or teach? Could you turn that into a small side business, freelancing, consulting, or weekend gigs? The goal isn't to burn yourself out. It's to start small. Use that extra income to accelerate your financial goals. Pay off debt faster Build your emergency fund, or start investing. Think of it as building financial resilience, so that when a storm hits one area, it doesn't sink your whole ship. The fourth rule is about knowing when to keep quiet. Proverbs 21:23 says, "Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity." This applies to everything, but it has a huge financial lesson. Build your wealth quietly. Not everyone needs to know about your raise, your successful side hustle, or your investment wins. We live in an age of performative spending, buying things to post an image of success. But broadcasting every financial victory invites jealousy, comparison, and the pressure to keep up. It can also attract people who suddenly see you as the solution to their own financial problems. There's a quiet power in building wealth without an audience. It protects you from the pressure to one-up others. It reduces the number of awkward requests for money. And most importantly, it keeps your heart humble. When you don't feel the need to announce your success, you're less likely to let that success define you. Rule number 5 is about the magnetic power of doing great work. In 1 Kings 10, the Queen of Sheba traveled a huge distance just to see Solomon's wisdom in action. She was so blown away by the excellence of his administration and the quality of his kingdom that she showered him with lavish gifts of gold, spices, and precious stones. Solomon's commitment to excellence literally attracted wealth. The rule is this: excellence in your God-given work attracts opportunity, favor, and promotion. The Bible calls us to work as though you are working for the Lord, as it says in Colossians 3:23. When your work ethic becomes an act of worship, it can't help but set you apart. In your career or business, start by being reliable. Show up on time. Keep your word. But then, go beyond that and become exceptional. Learn to solve problems for your boss or your customers better than anyone else. People will always pay a premium for excellence and integrity. This is what leads to promotions, raises, and a reputation that brings new clients knocking on your door. Ask yourself, what would it take for my work to be Queen of Sheba level impressive? Pick one area of your job this year and commit to becoming outstanding in it. Your work is a huge part of your stewardship, and God often channels financial blessings through the hands of those who are excellent at what they do. The 6th rule is one of the most famous financial verses in the Bible, from Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Solomon's kingdom was a creditor nation, not a debtor. The Bible warns against the bondage of debt over and over because it handcuffs your freedom and your ability to follow God. In our culture, debt is totally normal. Student loans, mortgages, car payments, credit cards, it's just life. But Solomon's wisdom urges us to see debt not as a tool, but as a trap. Your future income is already spent. Those monthly payments limit your ability to give generously, to pivot careers if God calls you somewhere else, or to say yes to a sudden ministry need. The application here is to get absolutely ruthless about eliminating debt. Start with the dangerous debts, the high-interest credit cards and consumer loans. List all your debts, their balances, and their interest rates. Then, choose a payoff method, like the debt snowball, paying off the smallest debts first for quick wins, or the debt avalanche, tackling the highest interest rates first to save money. Cut every non-essential expense you can, and throw that money at your debt. And stop taking on new debt while you're paying off the old. Freedom from debt isn't just about having more money. It's a spiritual freedom that makes you fully available for God's call on your life. The final rule is the one that holds it all together. Proverbs 3:9-10 says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing." The tithe, or your offering, isn't a bill you owe God. It's a declaration of where everything came from in the first place. By giving God the first slice, you're actively reminding yourself that He is the source of it all. You're the manager, not the owner. This single act has a profound effect on your heart. It breaks the grip of greed and the fear of not having enough. It reorients your entire financial life around God instead of yourself. Practically, this means making giving the very first line item in your budget. not a tip from whatever is left over. Whether you start with 10% or another amount, the principle is making it your top priority. Generosity realigns your heart and protects you from the danger of trusting money more than you trust God. So there you have it. 7 of King Solomon's rules for faith and finance. Ask for strategy. Build before you buy. Diversify your streams. Work in silence. Pursue excellence. Avoid debt. And honor the source. But Solomon's story also comes with a huge warning. For all his wisdom and wealth, he eventually turned his heart away from God. In the book of Ecclesiastes, he looks back on all his achievements and concludes that without God, it was all completely meaningless. And that brings us to the most important question. Is your financial journey bringing you closer to God, or is it slowly pulling you away? Does your bank account give you more security than God's promises? Wealth is a powerful tool, but it makes a terrible God. The goal of biblical finance isn't just to get rich. It's to become a trustworthy steward that God can bless, knowing that the blessing will flow through you to serve His kingdom. So, be honest. Which of these 7 rules is the weakest link in your life right now? Is it strategy, building before buying, diversification, silent discipline, excellence, escaping debt, or honoring the source? Drop it in the comments below. Just identifying the area that needs God's wisdom the most is a powerful first step. And if you want to keep learning how to apply God's word to your finances, make sure you subscribe. Let's commit to managing our resources God's way, so we can live with true freedom and purpose.